Jenny.
Wrong start.
Okay, in your own time, and just tell it to me
Okay.
when you're ready.
So this is a different. It's not. I've never been a world champion tennis player or owned a mining company. It's just a story. It is a story about when I was a kid and kind of a little bit about who I am now. It's funny, you wouldn't know this, Tim, but Diane said something very funny in my first lesson with her last week, very early on into the lesson, where she said that I add eyebrows and hands and mannerisms to make sure people like me. And it's funny because she's not wrong. But this is kind of, I guess, the moment I can kind of look back on and understand why. And it's not a funny story, it's a sad story, so hold you onto your seats. I am a twin. I have a fraternal twin brother. And he's always been, or at least when we were growing up, he was always a lot more social with people our age. I was good at entertaining adults at the parties. I was the precocious little kid that would rattle off whatever story my parents wanted me to and entertain guests, but I didn't really have friends my age, especially after we moved here. My brother made lots of friends, but I didn't. And I would get invited to everything because twins are kind of a package deal. You can't invite one twin and not invite the other twin because it doesn't work. So I would go to all of the parties, but I would just feel, even though I was surrounded by people, I'd feel very, very lonely. Which is funny because I literally have a brother my exact same age that I've grown up with my entire life. It's funny that I feel lonely, but I did. And my parents were like, they're not together. And that began not long after we moved here, but didn't finalize till after I finished year 12. So the entire time I was growing up, they were there, they were working and they were cooking our dinner and they were there, but they had their things with each other, so they didn't really talk to us as people and find out what we were thinking about and feeling about. We were sort of on our own in that respect, and they would drink a lot and they'd fight a lot and they'd yell at each other a lot, and so I was lonely at home and I was lonely at school as well, and I would read a lot. I would read a lot of books. At one point in like grade 3, my best friend was the librarian in the library. But I eventually did make a group of friends. It was when I got to like grade 5 and 6, I was finally in a class that wasn't with my brother. I was on my own and I had to just know people and get to talk to people, and I didn't have that wall, but also, that barricade to getting to connect with other people. So I had to, and I did kind of make a group of friends and a group of wonderful. There were some girls that I really loved that I still, some of them I still talk to this day. But I was also at the time growing up and realizing I might be gay, which I am, surprise. But at the time that was a big issue for me, like, oh, I can't be that, and I need to make sure I'm not. And so part of that was making sure I had mates my own age that were boys, because that's important for a young man who's growing up normally. And so I did. I had some friends that were my own age. We had similar interests like video games and that sort of thing. And we would, hang out and chat at breaks. And none of us were very athletic people, but we would chat about games or bring in games to play or whatever. And I thought, I did it. I didn't need my brother, and I did it, and I made friends, and that's awesome. And then one day I came in it was math. I remember it was math class because I remember the teacher. I remember he didn't do very much about it. But one of my friends had this like little, it was, probably, grade maybe 7 or 8 by this point. So, 2010, 2011, maybe earlier than that. And he had like this kind of a calculator thing, but it was a little bit more advanced in that you could write notes on it. You could write like notes and save them. And we just had English before, and in English we'd been doing speeches, we'd been doing presentations. And then I was like, in the next class asking about the little thing he had, and he was like, oh yeah, I can show you if you want. I wrote some notes recently, you can read one. And it was one that him and him and another kid that I wasn't really friends with had sat and written about me while I was doing my presentation, like about how I'm fucking annoying and I'm definitely a faggot and I'm just a lot of really not nice things. And I kind of tried not to react about it. And the other thing that they decided to show me at that time was they'd stolen my school diary, which everyone had to have, I'm sure you'll remember. But they'd written gay on every single page. And I wasn't openly gay at that point, but I was like, holy crap, they know. And I tried to go and tell the teacher, I tried to keep it together, and I told him, and he kind of waved me away, like I was annoying him and telling him about an insignificant issue. And so I left the class. And the only person that followed me was one of the girls, Tiana, who, it was funny, the year before I'd asked her out, you know, I'd been like, she's like, no, dumb. And she followed me, and it was the only person that came and checked I was all good. And, you know, we got it sorted out, and they apologized, and my dad was very angry about it when I told him. He, came in and made sure they all apologized. But it changed me. I didn't realize people could do that, and it made it really hard to trust that people did like me, because I thought these people did like me, and I was shocked, I guess. And it made me focus a lot more on how I impact other people, and to make sure that I'm doing that in a positive way, and that I am a positive impact on people's lives, so that I don't have to worry about that, because there's no need to, because I haven't done anything to make them not like me in the first place. And so that's why it was funny when Diane said that in class the other day, and that's the story I wanted to share today.
Oh.
Sorry.
That takes a lot of courage to tell that, man, and you did it so beautifully. So well done, and thank you for sharing that with us. Like you letting us into your soul.
Thank you. That's okay. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Of course, mate.